What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. And it's Thursday, which means we have another update in Borderlands 3, and this update's a little bit bigger than some of the previous updates. We have some fixes for the Guardian rank, some Vault Hunter skill fixes, and a whole lot more. So as always on the channel, we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know about this new update. So starting off the video today with a message Gearbox left at the top of their patch notes. Reading directly from the patch notes here, it states, "Today being December the 12th, we will release an update for Borderlands 3 by or before 3 PM PST. That addresses reported issues with Guardian rank and fast traveling to Sanctuary 3, adds vending machines to Skyward 27, and includes some support for the first DLC, Mox's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot, which will be live on December the 19th. With this patch also comes a new hotfix menu. You will know that hotfixes are applied when you see the menu get a little bit more festive. Below are the notes for today's patch." And that leads us straight into the first section of the video, which is the gameplay changes and fixes. Just to quickly mention, this video won't be covering every single fix on the patch notes because there is quite a lot on there. But we are going to be pointing out some of the main ones that you definitely should know about. And to jump straight into this, for the first one, they fixed a reported concern where Guardian rank perks would sometimes be disabled for users that had already unlocked them. Being honest, I'm very surprised it took them this long to actually fix Guardian rank. This is an issue that's been happening ever since the release of the Maliwan Takedown event. But either way, I'm glad it's finally been fixed. Up next, we have a very good change here where they addressed a reported concern where enemies would sometimes deal excessive damage to vehicles in true Vault Hunter mode. You have no idea how happy I am about this. Sometimes you would hop in vehicles and they would get obliterated in seconds, and it sometimes became impossible to even use them, so definitely a great fix there from Gearbox. Moving on now, we have some of the Vault Hunter fixes. For some of you Zane players out there, you would definitely like these ones. They fixed an issue with Zane's Quick Breather skill, where it would sometimes just not be functioning. They've also fixed an issue with Zane's Shaden Fruit skill. Hopefully I pronounced that right, but that skill would sometimes not award the player shield restoration, so another good fix there for Zane. They've also fixed an issue with his Praemonitus skill. Again, the pronunciations of these I'm probably butchering, but that skill would sometimes not award the proper size clip on the first clip of the weapon the Digiclone spawned in with, so another fix there for Zane. Moving over to Moze now, where her Stainless Steel Bear skill would sometimes not award the damage bonus to the Iron Bear. That has now been fixed. They've also addressed a reported concern where Moze would occasionally be ejected from Iron Bear immediately after entering it. This is an issue that I never really come across during my time playing as Moze, but definitely a good fix there for Moze. And then for you Amara mains out there, they've addressed a reported concern where a client's camera would sometimes occasionally stutter and lose functionality after performing Amara's downfall skill into a kill volume. They've also put a patch on the indiscriminate skill for Amara, and specifically because of the recursion. A lot of people were using this to just fly through the Maliwan Takedown event, and with the recursion, bullets would ricochet like crazy off enemies. You would have like just an insane amount of ricocheting bullets that would decimate enemies very quickly. So they've now put a bit of a patch there for that. Also, in regards to the legendary recursion shotgun, it would sometimes penetrate invulnerable shields. They've now patched that as well. And then the final one for the gameplay changes and fixes section, they have updated weapons wielded by Children of the Vault badass enemies to use bullet-based variations to cut down on the special effects spam. Yet another great change there from Gearbox, especially in modes like Mayhem 3 and Mayhem 4. A lot more of the badass enemies will spawn, and when you're getting shot at from loads of different enemies at once, your screen would become very cluttered. And while they did try to cut down on that with some of the previous updates, there was still a lot going on screen, so I'm glad that they are actively working to cut that down. And that's pretty much it for the gameplay changes and fixes section. So now we move on to the UI additions and fixes. So just like the gameplay section, we do have some pretty good changes to the UI. To begin, they've now added numbered icons to the Mayhem mode icon on the HUD, and this is great. Sometimes when I'm on Mayhem 4, it looks like I'm on Mayhem 1. And talking of that actually, that brings us into our next UI fix, in which they've addressed an issue where Mayhem mode icons on the HUD would sometimes become inconsistent when adjusting the difficulty. This has been around for a while, and I'm surprised they're just getting around to fixing it now. But either way, it's a very good change there from Gearbox. Moving on from that, they've improved the inventory menu and Guardian rank menu performance. I haven't really noticed any hitching or performance issues with the menus lately, but either way, some more stability for the game there. They've also addressed an issue where all functionality could sometimes be lost when pressing the options button within the menu before starting a game. In addition to this, they've addressed an issue where thumbnails and lock state could sometimes become incorrect when viewed in the inventory menu, and the same for vending machines as well. This is an issue where sometimes you'd click on a weapon and it would show you a completely different image to that weapon. It would show you something else in your inventory. And originally I thought they fixed this with one of the previous updates, but apparently they didn't, and that was a much needed fix there. We have an issue with photo mode next, which has now been fixed, where the settings could sometimes scroll off the screen. They've also addressed an issue where friend profile icons were sometimes not showing up correctly on the echo menu. And talking of the echo menu, there was an issue where sometimes players would lose functionality when opening the echo menu after exiting a vehicle, which has now also been fixed. We also have a fix for the Maliwan takedown event, in which some players who join late would sometimes not have spectator mode button prompts. And then for the final two fixes in the UI additions and fixes section, they've addressed an issue where primary and secondary stats could sometimes overlap on legendary artifact item cards, something that I didn't really come across, but quite a few people were having this issue, so another good fix there. And then the final one is they've addressed an issue where multiple notifications were sometimes being triggered after having completed a challenge. And that leads us into the next section of the video, which is based around stability. So for stability, we don't have too much to go over here. To begin, they've fixed an issue in regards to the grenade indicator widget, and same with the minimap widget as well. They haven't given too much details about what they've fixed with those. It just states that they've fixed a reported concern related to them. They've also fixed a couple of crash issues, one that was occurring when exiting the echo menu, and one that occurred when a user attempted to load into the game after experiencing a network error. Another crash issue they fixed was one that occurred after idling for 10 minutes. And for the Xbox, there's one that would occur sometimes in split screen that has now been fixed as well. And then the final one for the stability section is that they improve network performance on PC to prevent hitching related to friends or networked games. And now we move in to the general section. So to begin this one, as previously mentioned in the Gearbox description at the beginning, they've now added vending machines to Skyward 27, or more vending machines, should I say. I know a lot of people were calling for this, so I'm glad that they listened to the community on this one. They've also added functionality to skip the intro movie once the video has fully loaded. Again, another thing that the community wanted to be changed, and they changed it. They've also disabled access to photo mode during Fight for Your Life. The crew quarter room decorations on Sanctuary 3 now correctly use the rotation of the hook. They've also fixed a reported concern where the game would not start up in the correct resolution sometimes when using full screen mode and display scaling. This is an issue that I've been dealing with sometimes on the game, so I am so glad that this one has now been fixed. They have also fixed an issue where apparently players would sometimes remain invisible after respawning. Again, something that I never really came across. And then for the final two, they fixed an issue where environments could sometimes appear unnaturally bright due to time of day errors. And for the PC only, they fixed the reported concern where Vault Hunter profile cards on Epic Games Store were sometimes not showing correctly. And now we move on to the final part of the video. So for the final section, they address some progression blockers and issues with some of the quests in Borderlands 3. Reading directly from their patch notes here, it states, addressed a progression blocker that sometimes occurred if the player jumped before Chad did during the mission Swamp Bro. They've also fixed an issue with the objective at Kill Ratch, where it sometimes wouldn't update during the quest Family Jewel. They've also fixed a progression blocker during the mission in the Shadow of Starlight. They've also apparently fixed issues related to traveling between environments on Promethea that would sometimes cause the games to crash and would sometimes stop some of the missions from progressing. They've also fixed an issue where waypoints would sometimes fail to appear when obtaining a mission for an environment that hadn't been unlocked yet. They've also fixed an issue where players were sometimes unable to complete fast travel station zone progress when exploring Cathedral of the Twin Gods. And then the final one is that they've addressed multiple issues with the Echo dialogue not playing. And then one final thing to note about the patch notes is it stated, new content, added support for Borderlands 3 DLC, Moxie's heist of the handsome jackpot. And that's pretty much it for the patch notes. I wanted to kind of keep it clean and concise and straight to the point with this. Let me know your thoughts on these in the comment section below. Obviously, on December the 19th, we have the release of the new downloadable content. And with that, I'm pretty sure they're going to bring a couple of more fixes, a couple of more changes. And as always, I will be reporting on those on the channel when those are live. As always, if you enjoyed the video today, be sure to leave a like down below. It's always greatly appreciated on the channel. And check out this video on screen now if you want to check out the top 10 best new weapons in the Maliwan Takedown event. Peace.